this room for a second. Cold to the rest of the house, but this room gets the afternoon sun, so it's hot. So if you guys are joining me, you probably saw last week's video, and last week's video was our lovely kissy face Bigfoot. Today we're going to ignore those other rectangles I drew last week, and we're gonna do more rectangles. I lost my train of thought. We're gonna do more rectangles, but we're gonna be different about it. How did I do this? Yeah, put an inch on each. Ow. Put an inch on each side. I'm still not used to like the vlogginess of it all, like just having to constantly talk to the camera, because sometimes I get into the zone and I just stop talking, like entirely. Just all of my thoughts become internal, and I'm not really good at expressing those thoughts outwardly. So if y'all remember, there is a frame with 13 openings in the mat board that came with the frame, and for that frame I wanted to do 13 cryptid pinups. Why? Why not? Already messing up. Woo! The reason why I'm mapping these out is because I want to make sure that I get as many of those openings on here as possible, just because it will be easier for me later on, where it's like I don't have to spend time pretending, or not pretending, pretending like I'm not actually doing math in my head. Yeah, I do math in my head. It's a disease. 2.5 by 3 1/4. Interesting how they're all 3 1/4. I don't know why I say half the crap that comes out of my mouth, so just ignore it. Don't ask me words right now. I am not in a cohesive mood today, so you're probably gonna get a whole lot of what are you talking about today, because my brain is mush. Right, Rizzy? So yesterday I came to the discovery, or I came in here with the hope that these videos would at best be like 30 minutes, and I wouldn't have to like do any like serious editing or anything like that. And not yesterday. What's today? Anyway, the last time I was in here, I was hoping that these videos would be short, like 30 minutes tops, and I wouldn't have to do any editing. Like, I just post these videos, it'd be vloggy and nice and short, and kind of give you a look into my mind. Unfortunately, no one should have to do that. That video is 1 hour and 10 minutes long. So, you know, I lied to myself. I lied to myself, and I lied to all of you. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I overestimated my I estimated my abilities in a direction that was not conducive, or was not conducive isn't the right one. It is not reflective of the facts. Yeah. And the facts are that I am slow. Which is not a bad thing. Being slow is great, because being slow means that you don't mess up as much. It means that you can see your mistakes before you make them permanent. So yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just not gonna even bother messing with that, because whatever. And today we're gonna work on this box here. And like I said last time, we're gonna be working on El Chupacabra. And I also said that I would do research. That was also a lie. I forgot where my brain went. And my brain, like I said, my brain is all over the place. And because it's mush. And because it's mush, I'm not gonna do the things I said I was gonna do right away. And that will be something that comes along later. I guess I could talk about, like, I know a fair amount of stuff about the Chupacabra. And the only reason I didn't talk about Bigfoot last week was because I started waxing poetic about everything but Bigfoot. And that got into some pretty philosophical places, I suppose. Very, very interesting what my brain is capable of doing when it is completely untethered from reality. Because let's be real about my brain. El Chupacabra. For those of you who don't know, the myth of the El Chupacabra started in Mexico and South America because animals, specifically goats, were starting to appear on farms mutilated. And by mutilated, I mean that their carcasses were found. Wow, why am I trying to remember stuff? Like, my brain is not for remembering, it's for art. So yeah, the mutilated carcasses of livestock were being found on various farms throughout Mexico, Central America, South America. A lot of them were showing up with 2 puncture wounds on their throat, like a vampire was going around sucking the blood out of all of these, because they were completely exsanguinated. Like, there was no blood anywhere in these animals. Their flesh, like, graphic description warning, I guess, their flesh had been rended from its organs. Organs were missing, eyes were missing, but it, like, the flesh was just so perfectly torn that it was almost surgical. And it was really grotesque. And me being who I am, I was like, oh, fascinating. Can you explain exactly how it was rendered? Like, did somebody went out there with a scalpel and started cutting up all these animals? Yeah. Listen, I'm a very interesting child. That's a Chupa butt. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am? What's the matter? Am I not giving you enough attention? Oh, that's what's happening. You wouldn't even let me pay you for that long. I'm copying one of my old sketches for this, and I'm trying to think of why I put lines in certain places. So, again, brain, mush, always has been. Never not be mush. So finding these animals, the people, the farmers of the area were obviously concerned about their animals. They were, it's not determined, they were convinced that it was a creature that was doing these things to all of the to their livestock. At least one person came forward and was like, I know what this thing is. It's a creature. It's green, it's scaly, it has fangs, it has a long tongue, it has spikes all over its body. It's just this really grotesque creature. And I've seen it on my farm. I've chased it away multiple times, but it keeps coming back. And multiple farmers are like, I've seen it too. And so they're convinced that there's this creature, and they all decide that it's like, okay, we've got to... the farmers decided to give the creature a name so that they all can just like... And that name was El Chupacabra. And the meaning of that name El Chupacabra means the goat sucker. And thus, the legend was born. There's a lot of lore about the Chupacabra. The lore changes with wherever it is. It's like region specific, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And because of that, you're going to get different variations of what the creature looks like. You're going to get different variations of the lore itself. Like, where did this creature come from? Is it a natural creature? Is it a extraterrestrial creature? One of my favorite theories about where the Chupacabra came from is the alien theory. And it's that it's actually kind of sad, is that the Chupacabra was left here by aliens. And by left here, it's like it was their pet that they left on the side of the road because they were moving to another solar system. Like, and that's sad to me. That's really that is sad. It's like, I hate stories of people finding abandoned animals on the side of the road because the family just couldn't take care of them anymore. The animals don't understand why they've been abandoned. Like, they really don't. And it's just like, when is my family gonna come home from the war? It really breaks my heart, and I would love to take home every single animal that I saw on the side of the road. I like to imagine that chupacabras have like ridiculous tongues, as evidenced by this nonsense here. If y'all remember my massive rant last time about me not both being a believer and a disbeliever, this like a skeptical believer, I guess is the proper term for that. I believe that there are things in this world that we just cannot explain with our current scientific knowledge. The advancements that we've made in science have yet to prove the existence of certain things like Bigfoot or the Chupacabra or Loch Ness Monster. That doesn't mean that they don't necessarily exist. It is harder to prove that something doesn't exist than it does, because even if there is no evidence whatsoever, people are still going to believe in it because it's like, I saw it with my own eyes. Ness's long neck coming out of the water, and she went jump. And that's how it lost my daddy. Or something, I don't know. But with like a Scottish accent, you know. I'm from the South, people. Leave me alone. I love the lore behind all of these creatures that I'm going to be doing in this pinup series, and also the ones that didn't actually make it into the cut, because how do you choose just 13 cryptids? And it's like you start really having to narrow down or to like give parameters that they have to meet. I have my parameters. And I'm not necessarily going to share those right away, because I feel like if I do, y'all are going to hold me to that, and I'm not the best at remembering what I said, because I'm kind of brain mush. Today's theme is brain mush. I really like to surprise people with things and whatnot. It's also why I probably shouldn't say that I'm gonna do something, because a lot of the time I forget. I think it's called having mush brain. I will say that none of these are gonna be filmed in a regular fashion. I'm actually trying to come up with a good schedule that I can actually stick to. Because I will say, oh, that's a foot. Concern it. Okay. This is the problem with me going off of sketches from like months ago. It's like, I don't remember what I drew. I want to keep to a schedule. But I have to like, because I have a schedule in mind, and the problem with that schedule is remembering the schedule, even though I have it written down like 5 different times in my bullet journal. Do you guys remember when I did bullet journal videos? Good times. There's a reason I don't do those anymore. No, I'm still bullet journaling. I just don't have a bullet journal that I feel like sharing anymore. And I think that was probably one of my reasons for like getting tired of my bullet journal after a while, and just like, it's very, very simplified now. You know what? There are things in life that should just be for you. You don't have to share every aspect of your life. Like, some of it should be just for you. And that is my bullet journal. And also some of the sketches that I do in my sketchbook, where I'm just like, well, with this past sketchbook, my smaller one, I thought about doing a sketchbook tour video with this one, but I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. And it's not because I don't like the sketches in the book, because I really do. I really, really like what I did in that sketchbook. And that sketchbook actually, like, I learned a lot in there. It was also one of those things where a lot of the stuff that was in the sketchbook I had already put on Instagram. And it's the stuff that didn't make it to Instagram that I was kind of like, you know what? That's just for me. It's just for me. Did I talk enough about Chupacabra? Probably not. But you know what? This isn't a Cryptid podcast. And if it was, it would have more planning. It's gonna be a dumb looking goat, and I love him. Goats are funny looking. Did you ever look into a goat's eyes before they like brained you because they headbutted you? Yeah, goats are gnarly, man. Pip, 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 pip. Let me know if you want to hear more about the cryptids that I'm doing. Is like, I'm sure like there's some of them that you maybe haven't heard of, or you have heard of them, but they're your favorite, and you can never get enough of people telling you about certain ones. And if that's the case, then I'll put more effort into it. I'll do the research. I'll make a script that I'll read off of, so I'm not like bouncing from topic to topic. Unless you really do like my stream of consciousness, whatever, what are you talking about nonsense. I'm talking about brain mush. It affects us all, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. You thought this was a video about chupacabras, but you would be wrong. You know, it's drawing with waffles that does her line art off camera. She can't concentrate on talking and line art at the same time, which I think is a good practice. Do I know how goat leg joints work? Am I gonna look it up? No. Okay, so my brain just jumped like 50 topics. I was thinking about chupacabras, which is fitting because I'm drawing chupacabras. But oh, wait a minute. Oh, I thought I messed up. I did. No, so I was thinking about chupacabras, and I was thinking about X-Files, because X-Files done. Can you tell I'm from the South? X-Files has done episodes on, I think one of their first episodes was the Jersey Devil, which took a really incestuous, cannibalistic route. It is nasty. Also, like, Mulder showed up as, like, well, it was like the first episode, I think. What's the matter? You know? You want to watch X-Files too? Yeah. Well, maybe we can get Stephanie to watch it with us. How do you think? The Jersey Devil episode was the one where we discovered that Fox Mulder is a himbo. On top of him being the Captain Kirk of that particular universe. And by Captain Kirk, I mean the "we'll sleep with anything that breathes. It doesn't matter how many tentacles it has." Not kink shaming. Not really. But that's his jam. Maybe the only reason Scully had a chance was because she was abducted by aliens how many ever times. Mostly to have babies. But yeah, that episode, I want to say, I really don't remember there being a Bigfoot episode, you know? That show went to some depth of, like, it pushed the bar for what is acceptable for TV. Let's just say that and move on with our lives. I'm sure there probably was a Bigfoot episode. There were a lot of things, like, they covered a lot of things, but, like, as soon as they got into, like, the alien stuff, it was all about aliens, you know? And I am not an alien. Ooh. Cool. I'm gonna let that dry. Anyway, I'm not an aliens person. Like, again, I want to believe, blah, blah, blah. But I'm more fascinated by what our planet is capable of producing. Like, what exists now or has existed in our recent past that we just don't have any evidence about. I think that's more fascinating to me than what could potentially be out there, because it means that we have a planet that we haven't fully discovered. We haven't fully explored that yet. There's things hiding from us. There are things hiding. And we need to know what they're hiding. I'm fascinated by the unknown. Even though I'm, like, not super into aliens, I can appreciate the people who are, and the people who go out of their way to be like, aliens, provided that it's not incredibly racist and very dehumanizing to actual people of color. But I won't get into that. So that's 2 episodes that we've talked about X-Files in a row. It's color time. So we're gonna leave the goat white. We're going to use this lovely pecan that we used last time. Instead of doing, like, everything in alcohol markers, you probably do like a mixed media thingy. So I need a nice green. Let's do YG3. YG3 is a pretty nice green. And that's going to be our boy's base color. I think from here on out I didn't really... No, there is one more I think I colored months ago when I first came up with this idea. I didn't color all of them, so I'm probably gonna have to make colors up as I go, which won't be great. So, you know, business as usual. Or I could spend some time tonight actually coming up with the color scheme for each one, and because that would make it easier for me to not just keep using the same colors over and over again. Even though I like the pecan, it might get annoying after a while. And it's like, as much as I want these to be like cohesive pieces, I want them also to be like standalone if they need to be. They don't need to be all the same color unless I eventually want to go back and do like, maybe let's do a blue series or a red series or a green series. Not realizing that I said RGB. There's my little green man. And then the white G. Ooh, that's very yellow. But I like it. Okay, I have no idea where the light is coming from. I might go over that with like a gray and tone it down just a hair, because these can be very bright. And my mild liners are very not bright. I know. My use of words is phenomenal. As much as I like how the Bigfoot turned out, like it is very bright, and I do like the way that the mild liners kind of give it more of a vintage feel. They look more like pinups the less vibrant they are. But it's kind of hard to do with that with these markers, because they are brilliant colors, as they say. Yeah, blendable and vibrant. They're not blendable, as they say on the packaging. But yeah, they're very, very vibrant. And as much as I like vibrancy in my works, ooh, no. Is this the one I killed on the Pokemon picture? No. I killed a different one on the Pokemon picture. What am I talking about? Yeah. I much prefer the duller colors, especially for like something like this. So that's my bad for choosing the wrong medium. But at the same time, it's like I really want to use these markers because I want to get a better feel for them. But I want to, and like I've also been killing my mild liners, so I'm kind of trying to give them just a bit of a rest for right now. I love my mild liners, but I want them to last a little bit longer. With these, I bought these because they were cheap. Like I wanted to get back into alcohol-based markers because I haven't really used them in about like 10 years. And, but I was really into Sharpies and Bics. Was it B2 I was using? Or was it B1? I don't remember. Nope, it was B2. Don't ask me what I'm doing, I'm just making it up as I go along. I'm good at finding the chisel tip, that's for sure. It's like I don't want to completely drown out my Chupa right here. So for the Chupacabra enthusiasts that are out there, what are some of your favorite Chupacabra documentaries or like episodes of shows? They can be supernatural shows, they can be paranormal shows, or they can be like we're going squatch hunting shows, you know, that kind of thing. I am all about those kind of things. I would love to sit down and watch some stuff that I potentially haven't seen before, because I am very, very much so into watching paranormal videos and stuff. I know I mentioned last time Nuke's Top 5, because he does like a lot of like video breakdowns, like ghost video breakdowns, and some of his older stuff has like monsters and whatever. I'm not too interested in those from him, but I might be interested from other people. I've also been watching Sir Spooks, but he's not as good. I don't like him the way that I like Nuke's Top 5. And I think that's because like there was a very recent video he had done that Spooks, not Nukes. There was a very recent video he had done. He had shown like this creature in South America, and it was so obviously fake that I just like, I almost completely stopped watching Sir Spooks because of that, because it was just like, look, I know a lot of this might be fake or whatever, but there is fake but still believable, and then there's so horrendously fake that, like, if you made a living watching these videos and presenting them, like, I'm gonna start believing that you're getting paid by these people to show their video, and because that's what that feels like. No shade to spooks or whatever, but that video almost ruined that entire channel for me. But everything else is just, it just feels like a knockoff of Nuke's Top 5. It's like the same exact formatting. He has his little catchphrases like Nuke's does, and I don't know, I like Nuke's better. Until somebody tells me that Nuke's has done something like really terrible, and I'm like, okay, cool, I guess I'm not watching his channel anymore. But until that day, or ow, why does it show up so pink? I guess it dries pink. Link me to episodes or shows or documentaries, and honestly, it doesn't even have to be Chupacabra or Bigfoot. It can be any cryptid at all. Like, it, the more obscure the better, because a lot of the time I've seen a lot of the stuff. Like, I mean, how many podcasts have done an episode on the freaking Jersey Devil? Honestly. Like, everyone and their dog has done the Jersey Devil. Everybody has done the Black Monk of Pontefract. Everybody has done, I don't consider this paranormal. I think it was just a very sad, tragic death of a young girl who is very mentally unstable. The Elisa Lam story. To me, that's not a paranormal story. That's just a really sad story of a girl who needed some serious mental health and was not in the frame of mind to get it for herself. And it's the blender. I'm trying to make this. I used the way too dark of a gray, but guess what? We're just gonna have a gray goat. See what I mean? How this blender doesn't blend? Yeah. And if you're gonna tell me that you're blendable, you gotta blend. Will it blend? No, because you're terrible at your job. But yeah, I love paranormal stuff. I love cryptids. I'm okay with aliens. I'm not super big on them. But if you have like a really good alien documentary that you want to share with people, you know, I guess send it my way. If you want me to comment on it, listen, I might. Oh, cool. I think we're done. Anyway, that's my Chupacabra in the first square that we've done. Sign that. Put that away so I can lose it for next time. Yeah, so that's my Chupacabra that's going in my frame. And this is the one that's in my sketchbook. Let me not destroy the picture underneath and get kind of a, show you kind of what my, wow. There is no space on this desk, so give me a second. But yeah, this is kind of like to show you what my process was, is that I looked up what the Chupacabra looked like in terms of like what witnesses have said the Chupacabra looks like. And then I did some preliminary sketches. That's my goat. Then I took some poses, some pinup poses that I really liked, and I drew the base pose first, and then drew, oh, you know what I didn't do? Ah, I didn't freaking, there's no shading. Oh, wow. Like, why does it look so bad? Like, it doesn't look bad, but it's just like, it looks like, in my brain, it looked like the difference between a original Disney movie versus the sequel of a Disney movie, where it's like the original movie has like all of this beautiful rendered animation, it has shading, it has lighting effects, it's gorgeous. And then you go to the sequel and there's no shading, there's no lighting effects. If it's nighttime, it's just like a couple of shades darker, but you can still tell. Everything else kind of looks like it's nice and shaded and everything, or shaded to my standards, which are not very high. And the Chupacabra itself was just like not shaded. I'm like, why is that? It's because I didn't friggin' shade it. But yeah, as you saw a second ago, with my sketches. I don't tend to, like, this past year has actually been like the first time that I really dove into using references for my art. Like, before that, I wasn't really, I just used to do a lot of things from my mind's eye, and as good as that stuff was, when I started like really using references for stuff, I started seeing like how much better my art had become by using references. And like, there was one day where I just sat down and I drew like 3 pages. I have them in here. 3 pages of pinup poses, and then I went back to doing, I think it was during May, because I was doing a art challenge, the Misadventure May art challenge. I just like freehand a pose, and that pose was so much better than anything that I had done in a really long time. And I feel like it was because I had been doing so many poses, like pinup poses, from reference. So like, it made my freehand better. So I thought that was really cool. And so like, that really kind of jump started my brain going like, I could use references for everything. I think that's as good as I want to get it. We did it. We finished. We survived the Chupacabra. That's my advice for this week. Last time's advice was buy the cheap stuff and practice with the cheap stuff before you invest in more expensive stuff. That way you know if it's a medium that you actually want to use, if it's something that you think you like. Sometimes a more expensive stuff makes all the difference, but you can't really know, like, a lot of the time using more expensive stuff is gonna hurt you more than it's gonna make you a worse artist, because it's gonna make you not want to do art, because what you come up with is gonna look like crap. It's like, even with, like, it's not the tools that make the artist, it's the artist that works and practices and does what they do. This week's advice is use references. Don't be afraid to use references, because in the long run, references will help you finesse your anatomy. Here. There's Bigfoot. There's some of my Bigfoot. Actually, I don't know if that was a reference. Next time, we're gonna do another one of these. It's gonna be exciting, and if you guys like this sort of thing, it's my cover page. Then we will, let me know in the comments if you want me to do kind of a impromptu lesson about whatever cryptid it is that I'm drawing, because I've done all the preliminary research. That's a lie. No, I haven't. But I know enough about the Chupacabra, and I know enough about Bigfoot to concisely give a idea of what those are. The next one that's on the list, not so much. Just because I'm like, oh, this thing is weird and I don't really like it, but I guess I'm gonna do it anyway because it's weird looking. So stay tuned for that. All right, I'll see you guys next time.